Countries are deploying troops to Greenland for military exercises with Denmark in response to President Trump's threats to take over the Arctic island. The deployments from 7 NATO allies are seen as symbolic show of solidarity. Meanwhile, talks between U.S. and Danish officials remain at a stalemate. Several European countries are deploying troops.
Shabbat Shalom. Before I get started, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Ruach Wadash, to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. I'd like to give double honor. Shalom to the 144,000 and to the elect. Shalom. We're here with a lesson I'm going to call the 10 horn fight with the whore. And as we seen, the 7 of the 10 NATO nations, or the 7 of the 10 horn, have come together with Denmark to go to Greenland to launch a military exercise, basically a show of force to Babylon the Great to say, we're not going to allow you to do what you feel like you're going to do. And we know Babylon the Great, being a NATO nation, had a covenant, had an agreement with NATO to protect them from outside military forces. But what happens when that military force comes from within? What happens when the enemy is someone that you had an agreement with to protect each other? And that's what we're seeing here. We're starting to see Satan rise up against Satan. Basically, Babylon the Great riding up against the rest of NATO and the taking of Greenland that they feel like they should rightfully have, because they don't want China and Russia to take over, so they want Greenland as a strategic military post. But we already know Greenland is a colony of Denmark, so they didn't really go to Denmark and like, hey, bro, we need that for our safety. No, Trump came out and said, no, we're going to take that. You can either give it to us or we can take it. Like I said, the booty warrior of the nation. I like you and I want you kind of situation. The easy way or the hard way kind of situation. Which is crazy because you had an agreement to protect nations like Greenland from outside of NATO military forces. Then you turn right around and do it yourself. They're supposed to be allies. But here we see America doing what America always do. Lie. Lie and break covenants. That's all they ever done. From the beginning building of this place, when they first came over here as the Pilgrims, and they had the Northern tribe help them and made covenant with them and broke every last one of them, to the Revolutionary Wars. They broke covenants with Spain and France. Heck, with England as well. Babylon, since its creation, has been nothing but a covenant breaker. So it's not surprising that when the time will come, they were going to turn on NATO. Remember, there's no new thing under the sun. So if there's no new thing under the sun, betrayal should have been one of the things the NATO nations should have been prepared for, because that's what Babylon been known for. All right. I'm going to start here. Psalms 55:20. He had put forth his hand against such as to be at peace with him. And we're seeing that. We're seeing America coming against the NATO nation by not caring what they say about Greenland. They know Denmark, one of the NATO nations, own Greenland, but they feel like Denmark should give it to them or they'll just take it. So they're ready to rise their hands up against them, against an ally, to take what they want. He had broken his covenant. Yeah. He broken that agreement, that treaty, that covenant that NATO has to protect each other from other outside powers. Like I said, he has become that outside power. From the inside, he has become the enemy in which they must fear. So it's no longer a covenant there, really. There's no point in trying to talk this out because, like I was saying, they have broken the covenant in which they pledged themselves to. Matter of fact, let's see something. Nation. Attacked by another NATO. Let's see it. The NATO alliance consists of 32 members states from North America and Europe. Article 5 of the treaty states that if any armed attack occurs against one of the member states, it should be considered an attack against all members. And other members shall assist the attack member in armed forces necessary. Let's see. It didn't answer my question. What happened when a NATO nation is attacked by another NATO nation? See, it doesn't state that. Let's see, how can I word this? What happened? Let's see. What is the, let's see, penalty when a NATO nation is attacked by another NATO nation? Let's see if they got that. If a NATO nation attacks another NATO nation, it triggers Article 4. I can't say that word, but a direct military response is less clear cut and depends on interpretation, where arguments suggest allies might treat it as an attack under Article 5, leading to collective action include military force or potential fall into aburgence under other treaty articles, highlighted a lack of specific penalty for internal conflict, but strong deterrence against external threats with UN reporting required for any nation. All right, we know Article 5. Let's see. Internal conflict as aggression. If one NATO member launching an armed attack on another allies will likely invoke Article 4 for immediate consultation. In Article 4, any member can request consultation if they feel their territorial integrity, political independence, or security is threatened, which often proceeds to Article 5 activation. So, basically saying, if one NATO nation attacks another and that other one feel like they're being threatened by that nation, which can go to Article 4 and they can ask for help, which basically turns to Article 5. In a NATO nation being attacked by another nation, all other NATO nations are going to help. So now we're seeing this is where they're at. This is why 7 of the 10 horns have come to help Denmark. Because it's in their article that even if an ally turns against them, that they are able to come together as a military force to fight against their ally. So since he had broken his covenant, his agreement with the other NATO nation, Now, United States fall under that Article 5, that the NATO nation can come together to fight against it. But here's the thing. Why did they turn against NATO from the beginning? Because they were led by Yahweh Bashim Shai to come against NATO. He put a snare, a trap under Babylon the Great with the Venezuelan thing to build up pride within them. And when that pride built up, when they felt like no one can touch them, that's when they started coming after Greenland and other countries. When they did that operation to take the Venezuelan president, and first they lied about nobody died, then all of a sudden all these reports started coming out about these mysterious super weapons that the United States have, how their military is still a dominant force. That's when you started to see them horns was let out. That's when you started to see who Babylon the Great truly was. They was exposed, and they really didn't care because they wanted that to come out. They wanted that to be known by these other nations to let them know, even NATO, to tell them, hey, just because we've been partying and our military have gotten sloppy, don't think we've been skipping out on building new swords. But we still got that kind of firepower. That's what tell you here in Jeremiah 15:24. I have laid a snare for thee, and thou art taken. And Babylon has been taken by that snare that Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai had laid upon them. We know a snare is a trap. He laid a trap on them using their pride so the world can see just who America truly is. I mean, them other nations never really truly believed Babylon when it came to them being this perfect place to protect people. But now they truly done showed their horn like, okay, no more hiding it. This is who we really are. If we want something, we're going to take it. Oh, Babylon. And thou was not aware. See, they weren't aware that it was Yahweh Bashim Shai that had them make them moves. Man going of the Lord. So they didn't know Yahweh Bashim Shai behind it. To expose them, to show the world, to lift up their skirt. To expose who they truly are. Thou art found and also caught. Yeah. So ain't no point. They can't go back to being, we doing this for security or we doing this to protect the world. That's why the world don't believe it. That's why you see all these people still telling them how wrong they are and these other nations talking down on them. Because they can no longer go back to being the sweet protector of the world. No. You've been shown to be a deranged maniac. Because thou hast striven against Yahweh Bashim Shai. Yeah. They were trying to fight against the Lord, and guess what? He exposed them, man. He's showing them there's nothing you can really do. Because at any time, I can show the world exactly who you are, and that's what he did. Yahweh Bashim Shai had exposed Babylon to the world at large, to the people who may be on the fence about, well, maybe America have a right to do what they're doing. No. Because now, Greenland done nothing to them. But they basically said, we're going to take Greenland. And we don't care if Denmark or the rest of the world has anything to say about it. So in their pride, man, they have turned against their friends. They have turned against the covenant that they made with them, the treaties. And basically saying, hey, we just going to take it. But what you think going to happen? You think NATO just going to lay down and take this? That they're going to allow Babylon the Great to do whatever they want? No, man. It's going to come a time to where they're going to put forth effort to turn against Babylon. And we're seeing the reasons why, man. You broken the treaty that you made with these people. You think they're going to let this stand? Nobody will let this stand, man. Go here. Obadiah 1 and 7. All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. Let's look up that word confederacy. Salakia. We're gonna go to that word confederacy, because all the men that were join with them, as it says here in Psalm 55, they broke in their covenant. So all the men that was with them in that covenant now look at them as an enemy. Let's see, confederacy. Strong H 1285. Barith, a covenant, an alliance, a pledge between men, a treaty, an alliance, a league, man to man, a constitution, an audience, a monarch to subject, an agreement, a pledge, man to man, yeah, country to country. They had an agreement, a pledge. So the men under their confederacy, the men that had an agreement with them, Salaki. All right. All the men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee had deceived thee and prevailed against thee. Yeah. It's gonna come to a point to where they're gonna deceive Babylon. See, right now they haven't made an official into United States with the NATO. So they still look like they're on kind of friendly terms. But it's going to come a point. They're going to deceive Babylon the Great. They're going to turn against the whore. Why? Because she turned against them first. She broke that covenant with them. They that eat thy bread have laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him. And they're going to lay a wound under Babylon the Great. Let's say that wound could be giving military secrets to Russia in the time of the Third War, which would ultimately lead to this place being burnt with thermonuclear fire. We don't know what that wound is, but we can kind of suspect with the things that are going on, it could be something of that magnitude. Because if you really think the United States is going to stop just with Greenland, you crazy. Because once you let a bully start bullying you, they never gonna stop. And who's the biggest bully on the block? America. So if they take Greenland, you think they're not gonna go over to Asia and try to start taking stuff from over there, taking other places? Heck, after they take Greenland, they can go over there and take Denmark, just for them basically coming against them. Notice one thing gonna lead to another. But that ultimately was really gonna lead to their destruction. I'm gonna end it out here. Revelation 17 and 16. And the 10 horn which thou sawest upon the beast, they shall hate the whore and make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. And that fire is from the thermonuclear missile. So it's gonna come a point to where these 10 horns are going to help Russia in the destruction of Babylon. What you can read in Jeremiah 50 and 51. They're going to come together with the king of the Medes and the rest of the nation to burn this whore utterly. Because they real deal mad with Babylon and the stuff that they're doing. It's just that prophecy hasn't been fulfilled to the point to where they can come against it. But we all know it's coming. And the end of Babylon is nigh. But I hope this video will edify. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh by Hashem Shai and Shabbat Shalom.